Konnichiwa, YouTube fam. It's me, Baby Dwarf. Anxiety, right? This is going to be the topic. It's the feeling in the body where you're like, and then you want to go and scroll your phone or find something more interesting to do, or just entertain yourself, or smoke a joint, or like get a pill or get drunk because so are we afraid of ourselves? Are we not comfortable in our own skin? Is this like a human condition? I'm going to give a 1-star review to this game of life because I didn't expect to incarnate here and be like, it's uncomfortable to be in my own body with all these emotions. So let's hack it out. Let's dissect it. Let's understand the nature of our psyche, taught by Mr. Carl Jung, right here, and how to freaking dissolve anxiety. Yeah, I just said it, and now I'm going to explain it because it's teachable, and amazingly, the world does not know. Selected individuals, they know. What is happening? What is freaking psyche? Anybody? Comment? What is psyche? So, honestly, I don't know what psyche is. But it's a conglomerate of impressions, energetic memories, feelings. Okay, I know what it is. I know how to explain it. Because I'm explaining here from nothingness. And nothingness, the silence, is all-knowing. So I'm just getting a download. Yes. Okay. Pause. Hey guys, my name is Jovan. You're watching Avatar Academy. This channel is about you. You are universal self, infinite consciousness, if you will, experiencing yourself as a human first-person individuality right now, and me too, and them, and your mama and papa, and your baby, and your dog, and the ant, and the snail, and everything in the universe, the sun, the stars, whatnot. So, on my channel, we can learn how to interpret ourselves and investigate little parts of ourselves that are energetic layers and all this complexity. Now, I can be a serious person like this, and most of the times, I'm a Looney Tune. Why do I do these gimmicks and like acting and performance and pantomime and cartoon stuff? Because I want you to feel liberated, to express yourself as you was that divine child that's uninhibited, unconditioned. So I'm hoping by acting crazy all the time, I will give you a permission to get a little bit goofy and get out of the rigid paradigm of your own conditioning and feel free to express yourself and enjoy life. Okay, the psyche, the anxiety, theme of this show. So, simply put, you are consciousness. You don't have a body, you don't have a brain, you don't have memories. You are just consciousness. And then you manifest a video game. And in this video game construct, you have a body, you have a brain, you have memories of your individuality. So all of these memories automatically prompt as an interface in a certain type of context, and then you recognize yourself as an actor on a stage wearing a pre-rehearsed costume or a mask or a person. So person is a mask and you are consciousness. So you have actually multiple personality disorder. You have different masks and they can be in order or disorder. So let's say when I show up to play with my kid, sometimes I am in role of a father. Hey, stop that. I'm your father, come here, sit down, eat. I love you. But then, many times I show up with my kid and I'm like, what? Let's play games, okay? So, in this context, relating with somebody or a certain context, you can show up and a personality that you have developed in that context will activate. So, you can be in the role of a student, writing everything down, or a teacher, explaining everything. Or you can be a child and be like, Mama. Or you can be mother. Hey, here, kid. Listen to your mom. So, consciousness exchanges all of these different roles, and throughout your life, in different types of contexts, you will develop different types of mimicry or, like pantomime, and different types of talking. So, think about it when you're talking to your friends from down the block. We'll be like, yo, sup G? What's up, my bro? Right. And when you're talking to people on a business meeting, you'll be like, we have decided that these key points will be the best for your future analysis. Right. And these different characters are automatically activated because you are presented with a context. So identity relates to context. And in different contexts, we experience different identities. So our psyche is like a conglomerate of these identities. Now, some identities in the psyche are like, I'm not supposed to do that because they punished me and they told me I was not a good kid, so I don't want to do that. And some identities are like, I got very disappointed where I tried that the last time and then these people shunned me and I don't want to try that again. So some identities in the psyche are disappointed and want to keep you safe and don't want to try that new thing that you desire to expand yourself into. Other ones are like, hey, let's do some damage. Let's have some fun. Let's do some drugs. Right? And they are, some of them are experienced consciously. Some of them are driving you from the subconscious. That means you're not even aware of them because you're not considering yourself to be this type of actor, this type of role, this type of identity. You don't see yourself behaving in those terms, but then you have a beer or two and all of a sudden, let me slap that ass. Right? So rock and roll. So we may become conditioned to only appear in certain types of roles because these roles are habitually reinforced. So that means we're always in society. Right? Carl Jung said that we get conditioned by society, by socializing, by growing up in a family unit and then larger tribal unit and larger society. We learn how to behave like our peers because we mimic, we emulate the surroundings. Now, where I'm from, which is Serbia, like if you show emotions when you are a man, and especially Montenegro where my ancestors are from, so let's say we go to funeral and then if you cry because somebody that you love it just departed and you like express, people that, come on, don't cry. Push it in. Do not show tears. It is a sign of weakness. We can't show weakness because we are warriors, okay? So, you'll be catching yourself with a tear on a funeral and you'll be like, hey, don't cry, come on. Be strong. And so, you just then stop like showing vulnerability. Always be strong. And so this is taught as like proper way for men to be. And it's usually because everybody was just like always a tug in a war during like all of the cycles of our ancestors. So it's like that, right? But then when I came to school, I was like, he's crying, he's gay. They're showing emotion, they're gay. So everything is like feminine, like women cry, men don't. And I guess this is very typical for a larger scope of the world or planetary population, perhaps. So then instead of crying, we get like, okay, we feel depressed, we feel annoyed, but we cannot connect to these emotions anymore, so what? Let's smoke cigarettes and tug it out. And these are just some types of conditionings, right? So based on your basic family unit and your larger tribe and then the world that you're living in, you are conditioned to show up in those roles that have been perpetually reinforced by the force of habit. And then you might not be experiencing the whole range of your acting potential because your consciousness acting to be everybody and everyone. So in fact you are feminine, masculine, and every combination of the 12 archetypes that you can find in the Jungian psychology. And I will not go into the archetypes because I can't name all 12 of them, so I don't want to look stupid. I want to look pretty. I'm conditioned to appear smart and pretty. Well, how do we uncondition the condition, and where does the anxiety arise? Now, since I already mentioned that we have different identities in the scope of the psyche, and I mentioned that they can be in order or harmony, so like I can express my feminine, I can express my masculine, I can express my inner child, I can express my inner grandmother, right? So like I can shapeshift into these different identities. Cool, then they are fluid and kind of coherent with each other. I can express my ninja, I can express my yogi, I can express my crazy artist, and all of that. So you may also find and look right now, can you name certain roles that you are prone to play, like you're a party girl, and then you're a really loving sister with your siblings. And so you might find yourself in different contexts and notice and give little nicknames to these different roles that you're playing in the specific context. Now, when you can recognize that you have these different aspects, this is good because it means that you are aware of them and that they can become fluid, so they're integrated because you are aware of them. Now, we might have some aspects lost in the subconscious that we don't even remember having, like inner child. We don't ever get to express ourselves because we're just always in a rigid context. So we're always like behaving how we are programmed by that context. And then we need to like awaken this like playful little naive character that just wants to fool around and be like blah, 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 right? And that is a sign of second maturation. So I think Pablo Picasso, the famous painter, said, first you learn how to be a grown-up, then you learn how to become a kid again. So you come into the world and you learn all the ways of the world, and you become a co-player in those theaters, in those arenas. And then, depending on the context, you form these characters. But then you find out that maybe you are always responding to context and you don't feel very free, so you want to decondition yourself and become the playful inner child again. Now you can shape shift into each context, coming to a business meeting, saying, konnichiwa, signing the contracts, reviewing the numbers, thank you very much, and then going into, just, having like a sensual play with your partner, being like, right, doing something a little bit kooky, a little bit sexy. Yeah. So, it's okay not to start being a sensual beast, like, I will eat you, business meeting. Or, you go to school to pick up your kids, and then, like, you might not want to choose to do weird stuff in front of your kids, or you may choose to be that kind of parent that's more hippie and just do this stuff, so you may normalize them for your kids. Now, that's your choice. But seeing that you have a choice is the integration of the character, and first you have to take a step back from this immersion and realize, well, I'm just a consciousness experiencing this body, experiencing the different characters. And so now we have a setup to actually break down the anxiety. As I've said, some of your identities may have been stuck in the basement of your subconscious, and they don't even get to go out unless they rebel from your subconscious, whispering into your ear that you should have a beer or two and then a tequila and then party animal. But then you're back to school, back to work, back to family, and like it's on normie. And so like you need something to kind of like interpret that subconscious identity that is your party animal or whatever. Like you can't get it going, it's not fluid because it's stuck in a basement, and like the normie one does not know how to communicate with the party animal. And this then creates the feeling of anxiety in the body, because now you will have a little guy here saying, hey, let me out, all right, hey, let me out. And the one that is here, that you're driving your conscious experience is like, something's happening in my body. I don't know what it is. This guy's like, hey, let me out, I want to party. and then you're like, and then you're driven to what? Tequila. Tequila. So I hope that makes sense. Now, there might be also a situation where there is 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 different aspects or identities inside of you, not having a way to get into your body to express that part of yourself. And the conscious is playing this normalized character, and it does not know how to interface with them. Now the thing might be even funnier when all of these different voices or emotional beings or identities, or angels and demons, if you will, are trying to express different things. So now they're fighting in your subconscious who is going to get to do something, but they have opposing intentions. So my normie self, like I'm driving my normie self in the car, I'm just like, I'm trying to behave nicely because I came to, I don't know, like visit my fiance's parents. and they're like super normie. And then there's a voice inside of me, and he's saying like, oh my god, comment on this food, it's freaking awful. And I'm like, shut up, devil. Like, don't make me do that. And the devil is like, but the food is awful. And the normie is like, I don't want to I don't want to defend, I don't want to upset my future mother-in-law. But then there's another one. Hey, let's get a drink. And I'm like, shut up. Like, I don't want to get drunk. Like, these are like my future parents-in-law. And like, and so even this kind of like battle between identities could be happening outside of my awareness. But then it just feels like an agitation inside of the body. And like my chakras are upset or something. So the inner battle of these identities is then creating, well, the feeling of anxiety. Now, once we know and understand that, okay, like, why am I being neurotic? Why am I being anxious? Why am I like suffering inside of my psyche? It's because they're suppressed identities that are all just theater, like divine comedy. It's all just consciousness playing all the characters. So even if they're angry ones that wanna kill and destroy, they don't need to take over your body in a way that they will do something like that will get you in jail, right? Even if they're ones that are like bitter and like sarcastic and whatnot, they don't. Even if there's one that's sad and depressed and they always like, right? They can all come into fluidity of your self-expression and actually merge. So we're calling this wholeness, we're coming and like realizing, okay, there are all these different emotional beings or identities, and if we start to actually notice them, we are going to get a lot of life force available because all of them can now integrate. So imagine this. Imagine you as a CEO of a company, but you don't know what your employees are doing, and your teams and all of your employees are like running tasks that are absolutely non-synchronized. Like, there's no head of operations. There's no team management. There's nothing. There's just like everybody trying to do something, but they don't know who's running the company. And everybody thinks they need to run and like fulfill something. So this is when we talk about subconscious, something that is not available to us. Now, the subconscious is actually very available to us and wants to communicate with the conscious, but we need to be a concerned CEO. We need to say, okay, we need to see like the list of our employees and what tasks they're running, because you can experience your identities, your emotional beings, and you can like fire them or like actually say, okay, you don't need to fulfill that purpose anymore because I was like running from my subconscious, and like we will re-employ you to now manifest this purpose together with this team member. And so it becomes like team building and team management, where you just address each single emotional identity, emotional being, and be like, yo, what are you trying to achieve? You want to have me play small to keep me safe, or you want to criticize my desire because that wasn't accepted like by my parents, like if I would like behave like this or be so like I embody an inner critic. But then I say, you know what, inner critic, because all of them are made from energy, psychic energy, like emotions and thoughts, right? So they're like little beings and they have their own consciousness, but they're all part of your larger consciousness and the conglomerate of your psyche. So you can say, hey, inner critic, and this is called alchemy. I notice you, and you can visualize them as like these little guys. Let me take my toys right here. So It's like, hey, you little demon that is always showing up, like trying to make me like drink tequila. What task are you running? What type of purpose are you trying to fulfill? And he'd be like, hey, I want to make you like appeal to people and like make friends and be social. And you can say, okay, so can we do that without drinking? And he's like, yeah, but you didn't used to notice me, so I was always like then, finding a way to make you drunk because then we get to be social. I love to be social. So that's your socializing demon, right? He was making you drink, but you cannot say like, wait, can I merge you through my heart with my conscious, and then what? There just becomes an embodied nature for you to be social. And all of a sudden there's no, but let's say this guy was actually blocked by this guy who was like, hey, stop being social. We will get rejected. So this guy was posing like a conflicted task in your operating system for this guy to actually be social. So Goku, he was like, yeah, don't socialize because like we got rejected, so I'm here to keep you safe, and like you will embarrass yourself, so shut up. And then he was like overwhelmed, like let's drink fucking tequila, right? So this is what's happening. This is anxiety. But then you say, okay, Goku, what do you want? I just don't want us to like be, like get like, people think that we're stupid or whatever. I'm like, okay, Goku, can we like find a different way to achieve that? Maybe you can like come here and like I can consciously choose to appear like a respectable normie in circumstances that require that. But Goku, yes, master, could be also like cool for us to just behave. And then Goku's like, oh yeah, because I wasn't informed about like what the company is doing. I was just like, performing some task from an interpretation of a previous situation inside of the memory. So I'm like, okay, so now we make these guys conscious, and then we can choose to be social and friendly and goofy and charming, or to be serious, ninja killer, or any other type of identity, but they're not struggling and they're not going against each other to cause anxiety. So whenever you feel anxiety, try to imagine two different beings having a conflict in your company, in your team, and simply ask them, what are you guys trying to achieve? What are you fighting about? And this becomes emotional intelligence and emotional maturity, because imagine having 2 or more teenage children, you being a parent. They're screaming all the time, they're fighting all the time, arguing about whatnot. You need to like go there and calm down. What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the solution? Offer them a solution where everybody's satisfied and mediate the conflict, and then they merge and they just become a fluid life force. Then you can express it, and you as the head of your company are then managing your teams. So anxiety in your body is only an indicator of an inner conflict of these different emotional beings in your psyche. If you benefited from this, subscribe and like. I'll see you somewhere.